Howdy. Today we are having an unboxing and I'm super excited about this and I'm glad you're here to join me. So let's dive in. What I have here is a package fresh from Emerald Carpets. The reason I'm excited about this is because my friends over there sent me a sample of their newest sustainable product offering. It's called Infinity, and they're marketing this as the next generation of sustainable event carpet. This is currently just for booth spaces, but soon to be rolled out in aisle carpeting. The goal that everybody has been racing for is to develop a single polymer product that can be decreasing the time and the effort required to recycle that product, because that's the cost prohibitive measure that's been working against us throughout everything that we're doing. You have silicone that's injected into the material and the backing to be able to hold it together. And the challenge with this is really in the backer. You want to have it as durable as possible, but you don't want to add to complexity with a different polymer. And what I mean by that is there's so many different plastics that can be used throughout the production of this. And the polypropylene product is one that can be recycled back into the same product or similar products for a near infinite number of times. The amount that can be pushed off from landfill, that can be reused continuously, is going to skyrocket as we progress forward. And that's why I'm so damn excited to be able to take a look at this and be able to show it off. So without further ado, let's go ahead and cut this box open and check it out, shall we? All right, let's see here. So it was a really fun conversation that I had with Will over there and Ryan over at Emerald. Nice presentation. Here's our one-page select. So we've got 100% recyclable, 40 vibrant colors, Expo Max technology, which is their proprietary backing, eco-conscious design, minimizes the demand for new materials, 30% lighter. Oh, that is a big one. 30% lighter. So right now on the trade show floor, for anybody that is not initiated into the general service contractor life, what you're talking about there is something that ships out to show site lighter. 30% is a big deal. When we're talking about shipping these things out to show site, we're talking about fuel being consumed. If you're having to carry lighter equipment and lighter things, it takes less to get there. And then let's talk about the human side of this, where honestly, what we see is anyone who has a carpet specific specialization from a labor side, installing, removal, cutting it in, those guys, they blow out their knees and need knee replacements in their 50s. Now, most people outside of the trade show industry, I don't know, 70s or never. But consistently, like when we're talking about labor and the costs of labor and it's so expensive, and it doesn't even faze me, honestly, because what we're compensating is these folks that are working hard, that are working above and beyond really what we should be requiring them to. And they're paying the toll for that. They're paying the price for that. So that compensation that we have for high union labor and the high rates that you call as high, they're really a compensation that's equally measured to what the effort is that they have to put in. The process to actually install the carpet is you have a 100-foot roll. That thing weighs a lot. Usually it's manhandled by a forklift, and that gets dropped into a spot. There's a lot of movement that has to happen to be able to just get it in the right angle and the right placement. And that has to be done by a human or humans. That's people that are on the floor doing that are shifting it around, using their back, using their legs, using their knees and blowing out their knees, pushing this in. And if we're talking about a 30% lighter load, that means that the effort required is 30% lighter to actually install this and put this in. So like this bullet point right here, I love this one the most because I'm dealing with labor, I'm dealing with the logistics to get it there, and just the ability to put it in. Let's keep moving on through the bullet list here. Softer face fibers, durable and long lasting. That's a big one. If this product breaks down and doesn't actually work, it doesn't really matter. We will pay extra for products that will last longer and that will be guaranteed to perform when we need it to, because we don't get a do-over. We will spend money and time for duplications of product offering just as an insurance policy to make sure we have what we need when we need it at the exact moment. And that's not the most sustainable. So I like seeing this on here. And the last one on here is a premium appearance. It says it offers a rich professional finish that elevates any event space. I like it. Welcome to the future of trade show flooring. Let's break this open. All right, so this feels pretty much like a standard expo carpet. The backer seems a little bit softer to the touch, but honestly, it seems about as durable as pretty much anything else. It's nice. Let's see what else we got here. Look at all the colors under the rainbow. Again, these are for exhibit spaces, booth spaces. The standard expo aisle carpets would probably fall under the territory of your tuxedo, which is here. Looks like they're baking that in. I'm not seeing cayenne. I'm not seeing blue jay, which are like the composites that we had typically seen as the more sustainable routes, which I think had like a 20 or 30% recycled content that goes into that. But if this whole thing is recyclable, then what difference does it make? This is nice. Softness is, I would say, it's about the same as the standard. We're not looking at loop, which some had provided. The loop is one where the fiber goes up and back down, but it looks different than what we're used to. And we can't really deviate that much from what we're used to, honestly, because it would just look weird. You can transition to that, and you might have specific purposes for that, but I always say don't differentiate more than 40% off of norm for anything you're trying to innovate or anything you're trying to do with the event. But no, I like this, all the different color options that are available here. All right, so what do we got here? So we got our comprehensive sustainability approach is circular product design. We create carpets and underlays for multiple uses, ensuring they can be reused, refurbished, and recycled, minimizing waste at every stage of their life cycle. Through dedicated recycling and waste diversion programs, we aim to achieve zero landfill contribution. That's a sizable goal. Renewable energy, it's energy offset, it looks like, and water and energy efficiency, elimination of water consumption in the manufacturing process. Okay, so they're looking at the whole supply chain for this product, not just the end life. We invite our customers to join us in creating a greener future through our take-back program and efficient pre-cutting solutions. Okay, so this is something that I was talking to Ryan and talking to Will about over at Emerald. You have two different types. Two different folks or two different strategies for your carpet creation. One is self-managed. You have your own carpet, you're purchasing carpet, you're bringing it into your warehouse, you're cleaning, processing, re-rolling, cutting, and getting it ready for the trade show floor. The other area is in the Emerald process of storing, processing, cutting, transporting out to show site. I would say there's pros and cons to both programs. What we see here is an easier ability to be able to adapt into this product offering if it is managed by Emerald. And the reason I say that is if you have 100,000 linear feet of purchased carpet for one event that is in, there we go, what is this? Green, whatever green this is. If you have that amount in inventory, you're gonna wanna reuse that. You have to pay attention to the dye lots with how things are right now. You have to match that. If you're trying to merge this color, this is a bad example. Let's talk about tuxedo. If you're merging 100,000 linear feet of tuxedo that is going into a 200,000 linear feet scenario, and you're talking about reuse, because these get reused about three to 5 times, depending on foot traffic and wear and tear, you have to match the dye lots. And if we're merging in 100,000 linear feet of tuxedo under the infinity system, we are going to have to consider how those things match up. And talking to Emerald, they're saying that if you go into the infinity system, the dye lot issue is a non-issue because of how consistent that they are able to be with this product in the dyeing process as compared to the previous one. So if you had a dye lot that was produced, let's say in 2024, and you repurchase in 2026, there'd be some inconsistencies with the prior program. But with this one, they're saying that is basically brought down to 0. Now, getting back to our warehouse versus theirs, if you're self-managing, and you have this product in-house, there is a problem of switching out your inventory to be able to match what you have coming in. Because otherwise, if you have a 200,000 linear foot need for an event, but you have, let's say 100,000 in warehouse, in the old way, you'd be able to repurchase, let's say 100,000 to be able to cover the needs. But with this new product coming in, you would need to do a wholesale swap out of that entire amount of the 200,000 and then find a use for that 100,000 in some form or fashion down the road. You're adding to your inventory space. You're adding to the cost of purchasing it. And that's additional assets to be able to manage. And what we're talking about also is this is booth carpet. And by the time of airing this, it might come out already for the aisle carpet being released. And it may not be a factor, but the way that carpet is manufactured and reused on the self-managed side of things, aisle carpet is cut down into 10 by 10, 10 by 20, 10 by 30, 40, so on, that you can make booth carpet out of. And you can elongate that life cycle of that product. But if you're self-managing, it's going to be really hard to do a wholesale swap out and to do a repurchase of your entire inventory, because that's real. But what I will say is the ability to have this managed by Emerald in their own warehouse. They're tagging, they're cutting, they're prepping all of the carpets that are going out to show site per spec, per carpet floor plan, and they're delivering it. They're threading the needle consistently every single time for delivery of these out to show site. Now, I'm not trying to sell you on this, but what I'm trying to say is that the differentiation between the two different mindsets will contribute to the ability to jump into a more sustainable practice much faster. Because with this being managed on Emerald's side, they're the ones that are controlling the inventory. It's like a carpet rental system that is distributed to you based on their inventory that they're managing, based on the work that's required and the work that they have that's coming up from an inventory consumption. I like it from that side. It requires less coordination. You don't have to coordinate the logistics of shipping these things out there. And for those that are worried about it actually arriving on time, which I posed that question over to Ryan and Will when I was chatting with them, they pushed back. And I can't remember what specifically it was that Ryan had said to me, but I definitely was put at ease. His words were something along the line of, we do this all of the time. And we walked through the logistics of them in those worst case scenarios when there are issues, the steps that they have taken to be able to make sure that it actually gets there. And I'm like, okay, I'm sold. And that's really what it takes, is like a team that understands the trade show timelines and understands the business event level of execution that's required. And the partnership that they've demonstrated on that side is really huge. What I'd like to say here is, this is not a paid promotion. I was so excited to get this product in hand and to be able to check this out. When I was talking with Emerald about the processes that they are going through to be able to create a sustainable program that is actually real, that diverts a ridiculous amount from the landfill and also creates this into more of a cyclical product usage instead of it having to be repurposed into other products, and degrades the ability to have that single polymer be reused. Because the stripping of the dye process is another area that really has a lot of problems with it. Everything shifts towards black. Black is easier to do in the sustainable side of things because it has so much other just crap thrown into it. You can put your green, your blue, and your purple, and your pink, and your cayenne, everything goes into it. And when you mix in all of those products and you grind it up, take it back into pellets, and you've got a product that is black. And when you have that, you have to process it to be able to remove that. They figured that out. That's the biggest thing that I would say is a differentiator for these guys. It is the ability to strip that down and bring it back into applications of white carpet even. So with all of this said, I am so excited for sustainability in our industry and what we're seeing now, because I feel like this is just like the version of replacement of directional signs that we saw a handful of years ago, when everybody positioned over into a paper product only, which was fantastic. You can never remove them entirely, and they're really needed. And when you don't have them, you can tell. You can't get around. You don't know where things are. And I feel like we're seeing the same thing on carpet. Folks all across the industry trying to race towards a sustainable product offering that is legitimately sustainable. Not greenwashing, not throwing labels around, something that's like legitimate, something that's real. And that's what I'm most excited about. So, thanks for joining me. I'll catch you later. Bye now.